Okay.
And
This meeting is being recorded.
that was really loud. Okay, now let me go to the, hold on, I can't see. Ways to give.
Okay, you want to back up, I think, 2, or at least for sure 1. There, yeah, okay. So that's what we're going to be discussing tonight. We'll have a Q&A at the end. So our second slide, please, is kind of like an overview on our agenda. And I want to first of all start by thanking Governor-elect Judy and our region board for putting all of these programs together in our Leadership Academy. It's part of our investment and typically our future. It's my honor as the Federation fundraising chair to be with you this evening. I thank each of you, first of all, for your time. I know we all have busy schedules. In this presentation, we want to be able to help you and your club and the club members better understand the ways that you can give and support to Seroptimus International of the Americas by 1, giving you a review of the way to support Seroptimus local and global impact. We will review how contributions and dues to the SIA headquarters giving programs, as well as the gifts to the Dream Big campaign, how this supports our impact today, in the future, as we strive towards our 2021-2031 big goal. Talking through Seroptimus year-round multi-channel fundraising strategy, along with some of best practices from the fundraising sector. And finally, I'll take time to answer questions that you may have, that we can capture any questions that you have so I can take back to headquarters and again, build another platform from there. So our next slide, please. And I think the best way to illustrate is to imagine, if you will, with me, a few hot buttons. 1, if we can imagine what 500,000 women and girls living on their own terms could do for our world today. Imagine having the resources that we as Seroptimus need to deliver our programs to these 500 women, girls that we want to reach. And lastly, imagine that all members have the support and the resources we need to help us to reach more women and girls in our own local communities. And when you put all those 3 together, that's what our big goal is. So thank you for the work that you do in your clubs in the region that's going to help us reach that 2021, 2031 big goal. Without Seroptimus like you, all of our members who work tirelessly every day towards our mission, our programs, we would not be able to make the global impact that we do. With that said, not all clubs are equal, right? I think we can all agree to that. Comes in size, comes in age, comes in diversity, their ability to fundraise. But what's important is that we all do what we can do, no matter how big, no matter how small. And that goes to the levels of your contributions too as well. And that's not the impact I'm trying to make today. What matters is that we just make that impact. Now we're going to take some time to talk about how the contributions and dues are used at Seroptimus. Has any of you ever kind of wondered about that? Yeah, no. One of our most common questions at headquarters that's asked by members is, what do our dues and donations to Seroptimus International of the Americas go towards? The clubs and members are doing the real work on and in their communities. We are so grateful that all of our work that is happening at the region level and club level, which we know requires support from the region and the club fundraisers. Our individual and club contributions fund the Global Dream programs and their expenses, including resource development. This includes Live Your Dream awards for newly chartered clubs. I understand we're looking at doing another new charter in Riverbank. So when they charter, guess what? They get $1,000 right off the bat for their first Live Your Dream recipient. So it relieves some of that pressure on them to have to fundraise to give a qualified applicant that $1,000. And they can do that by way of one award, split it 2 ways, however they deem necessary. Each year, thousands of women apply for a Live Your Dream award, but they're not within 75 miles of a club. So how do those women get reached? These women still apply and are eligible for a Federation Award. Additionally, top Live Your Dream Award recipients from each region are eligible to be chosen to receive an additional Federation Award. Contributions also cover materials for Dream It Be It, ongoing work to provide relevant program content for our members and clubs. As we know, that consistently evolves. Membership dues, those are going to pay for administrative costs, governance, and overall operation expenses associated with running the organization. Just like us in your local clubs, you have a service account that goes for your programs. You have a general account that goes for your operation of your postage, your things that you need to fund. Dues do not go towards the Live Your Dream Awards, Dream It Be It, or Seroptimus Club grants. That's separate. They do fund things like member services, which includes leadership, development opportunities such as the Governor's Roundtable, and upcoming club operations training, as well as club recruitment tools and translation for our non-English speaking members so that they may participate fully in the life and leadership organization. We can go on to our next one. The Laurel Society. How many people are familiar with Laurel Society? Okay. This is our prestigious lifetime giving recognition program for all donors who contribute gifts totaling 1,000 or more. As you can see, there's various different levels. Any charitable donation that you make to headquarters counts towards the big goal and your Laurel Society recognition status. You can also direct to what program you want those funds to be contributed to. You can option to split it. You can option to it goes to just one account, which is Live Your Dream, or Dream It Be It, or now towards the big goal. You see the 8 levels there within the Laurel Society. Each has its own PIN. Laurel Society members receive special recognition and are critical to our ongoing success of our dream programs. And I do believe we have a few inner circles within our region. So if we go to the next slide. You kind of wonder, what kind of impact does my money make? This slide will show you. And one of the easiest, and what I started, was to join stargazers. At the time, I think they called it monthly givers. You can increase your recognition in the Laurel Society by simply making a monthly donation. How many are on the call tonight are our monthly givers? I want to kind of see, because I don't get to look at the whole view. Good. We call them stargazers now, and you can become a stargazer for something as minimal as $10 a month. We have nearly 900 donors around the world that are considered our monthly givers or stargazers because they've set up a monthly donation. They pick the day they want it drafted out of their account. A recurring gift of any amount provides an efficient and reliable source of funding for all of our Global Dream programs. You can help ensure women and girls have the resources and opportunities they need to reach their full potential and to live their dreams. Become a Seroptimus Stargazer today while you're at conference. I'm sure that they're going to promote the rollout of our new campaign, which is 100 Stargazers in 100 days. So who wants to join in? And that's the time to get that additional recognition. And if I can go to the next slide. All individual gifts that are sent to Seroptimus headquarters counts towards your Laurel Society recognition. And this is kind of where people kind of get confused because they see so many different campaigns that come out from headquarters. Whether you want to give an annual contribution towards a program or the Big Dream campaign. Sometimes donors want to decide that I'm going to give a gift for someone's birthday. I'm going to, ask my children to give me a gift for Mother's Day, for my birthday, for Christmas, that's going to go towards Laurel Society. Sometimes you have a president that has served, consecutive terms. Her gift, if she's a Laurel Society member, might be towards her Laurel Society. I know within our region, the board and members contribute collectively and they give towards, the outgoing governor's Laurel Society. So we try to promote and support our own programs, and that's a great way to do that by gifting. And it's going towards that member's Laurel Society credit. Clubs and regions also have the option to do that as well. So clubs, I know, in honor of maybe somebody's passing, rather than sending flowers, can send it in, lieu of flowers towards this person in their name. Another option is a workplace participant in matched gifts. And you might want to ask your employer if this is some way that they build by contributing towards your Laurel Society account. I know there are a lot of corporations who choose to do that. I know Kaiser is one, Bank of America, will be another one that will ask if you want to give a donation to a charitable organization. That was one of the federal campaigns. I know that King's United Way was really a leader, but now gifting is changing and we need to evolve with that too. Next slide. Much like our members, clubs are encouraged to donate towards Seroptimus headquarters each year through what we call the club gift as a Seroptimus club giving. You can extend its reach beyond our local community. And sometimes you hear about the 10% of what your club raises locally in their fundraising efforts. And that's a hard ask. I've always came across to basically equal that with, but you're keeping 90 for your community. And I think these funds, like gifts from individuals, help ensure what SIA can support in the women and the girls, again, globally and locally, by their live your dream. This money has to come from somewhere. Enabling, like I said earlier, the new chartered clubs, funding region and federal level Live Your Dream awards, and so much more. And I know each of our clubs in our region are eligible for Live Your Dream. Our number one, right, gets judged. And then Judy, how many are we giving this year? 4 Live Your Dream awards? You're on mute. You're still on mute, Judy. Give me a sign. 2, 1, 3. She's muted. We used to have, because we were 42, 43, 44 clubs, SIA determines how many grants or awards that you're given. We used to have 5, and I think the highest was maybe 5,000, and it kind of scaled down. So can you imagine all the clubs underneath our federation receiving their level of clubs. It's on, oh, okay, she's been muted. So not only do we receive some awards back because some clubs, right, get selected over other clubs. Oh, this year we're getting 4 and next year we're going to get 5. And I think how much is that? About 15 to 17,000. So again, that money's coming back to us by way of all the clubs collection. Not only do we receive money and funding through our awards, we also receive that through our grants. I know Hanford has been the recipient of 2 grants over probably the last 10 to 12 years. And I know they've reinstated our grants, and this is funding programs that you develop within your own local communities. I think our first grant was about 3,000. Our last grant was 8,000. I know Clovis received a grant for the Marjorie Mason Center. So money comes back to us. So if I can go to our next slide, and that's club giving. And this one always kind of threw me off because it always shifted, and not until I became, you know, a more seasoned member did I kind of understand founders' pennies. And again, we have to go back to looking at how we measure our clubs. Some clubs are larger, some clubs are smaller, some clubs come from, you know, wealthier neighborhoods than others. I know my region that I work with in Tijuana, you know, they struggle. But each year, Serapemus clubs make founder penny donations to celebrate the founding of our organization and support its goals through dream programs. Founders pennies are a classic, time-honored tradition for clubs, and it's a creative way to help funding what consistently changes in our programs. Founders pennies are set at 6 cents per member times in the number of the years that we've been in existence. So starting in 1921 for the 2022 to 2023, which comes up to $6.12. So next year you add that 6 cents to it, we'll be at $6.18. Most clubs choose to make this donation alongside their annual dues. I think one of the things that you can also consider and take back to your club is what my club does, is that we have shifted that cost from me as a member to pay that $6.12 on top of my dues and my assessment. The club pays it for me, and it comes out of our service account because it's something that, again, is funding a service program. So you can relieve your member from that $6.12. And I think when we had our last SIA and region increase, our members didn't really have that impact because we offset that with that $6.12 coming from service rather than the member. So that might be something you take back to your club. We can go to the next slide. The Big Dream Campaign, and we have heard about this, and I think for those that are active listeners, they get it. Sometimes you get a lot of literature and we may not read it all, but it's an important part of where we need to go and grow. But the Big Dream Campaign is going to come to an end on August 31st, 2023. And it has been funding critical funds for an expansion, delivery, and sustainability of our programs for the future. So the impact is long-term. So women and girls can benefit year after year as we continue to increase our impact. The practical impact of the campaign will appear as we progress through the 10-year time frame of our big goal, including financial support for clubs to deliver the impact locally. So there again, it's coming back to us. Leadership development and volunteer training for members. Sometimes our members come in and we throw them on the wall to see if they stick and gravitate and are going to stay. Just like having a new hired employee, you invest in time and energy and employ them and train them for them to leave. So hopefully we can start cultivating good membership, good members, increased visibility of our programs, which helps us as clubs to attract more local supporters in your financial donations that you receive, as well as more members. We're busting at the seams, and that's a nice problem to have, but I think it's because we have a visual impact in our community. So if your clubs are struggling, this is so important for you to be able to see the vision of that ability to grow, and the support that's going to come back to you through SIA. New opportunities to engage community members in the big dream goal. Resources that carry out our dream programs and increase brand awareness to Seroptimus. We want people to be able to recognize that S and to say, oh, I know what that logo means. Just like if you see that logo of an apple, you know exactly what product's being sold. We want that recognition. But as the campaign comes to an end, you can still participate with either a one-time monthly Stargazer gift to help support the future. You can do a pledge, which basically says over time, I want to pledge $2,500, $1,500, $1,000, $500, whatever, something that suits your budget and your ability. And you're going to pledge that, and they're going to draft it out for you over the time frame that you desire. But it's going to be designated to be applied towards our Big Dream campaign. And it goes towards your Laurel Society. So you're not going to miss out on any contributions that you're giving to headquarters. It's always going towards Laurel Society recognition. Those 8 levels of pins that we saw. And the next slide, please. Our strategies. Now that you know a little bit more about the giving programs, I want to share a few strategies that staff use in order to reach our fundraising goals, all of which are based on best practices. I've been on the fundraising council now. This is my 3rd year, and I have 1 more year serving. This year, I was honored to be named as chair. And there are so many different strategies and so many touch points that they review and they look at, things that get sent out via social media at the time of day that they do it, the areas and the demographics that they hit, simply because they know that commuters will look on their phones and read. So there's just all kinds of algorithms that they pay attention to. So let them do that and then degress the information to us. But it's all based on goals. And I know that there are members that occasionally voice that we're being asked all the time, and it's a valid concern. So I'd like to share a little more about how staff approaches the fundraising. The most successful fundraising campaigns contain multiple asks and on multiple channels. What this looks like in practice is that our fundraising leaders and staff at headquarters craft a fundraising appeal, and then it uses it in pieces like email, social media, our Best for Women magazine, digital ads, our liveyourdream.org website, and even some mailed pieces. This is because research shows that most people need to see a message 5 to 7 times before they're going to take action. Big corporations use the same approach. It's nothing new, which is why they will play multiple commercials during the same show while also sending you that digital ad on social media. How many times are you on your phones? You may switch over to look at something on your Amazon account, and next thing you're seeing it appear on your Facebook posts. I just saw this. They know what they're doing. We're also doing more to attract non-member donors through these same channels. And hopefully we'll gravitate more as this is again repeated that 5 to 7 times. We want more people to be able to get involved with our dream programs to support the women and girls that we serve. Gift giving is always evolving. What worked 10 years ago may not be as effective now. It's not for me personally, you know, I mean, I'm 10 years older, but I can't do the same things. As you receive various fundraising asks throughout the year, because I know you've all received them, I have a campaign going out here via email shortly. I encourage you to share them, that these fundraising asks, again, though frequently, they are not a demand, a command, or requirement. It is an invitation only to become more engaged with the work of Seroptimists and our dream programs. You are being invited to invest in something that you are passionate about and that you can always say no. We know that not everyone has the same means, again, whether it's a club or a person, to give large and or multiple gifts. We are only giving every member and beyond the opportunity to make that impact on the women and girls in our local communities and globally, no matter how large or how small. We know as we're coming up to our region conference this last week, we received a report on how many people are close to reaching their next level in Laurel Society. 2 of the calls that I was able to have a personal touch with, one of the ladies, she actually gives $5.88 every month. And I thought that was really odd. And she was $113 shy of her next level of envoy. So that meant she was already about $2,300 and some odd, $2,325 or whatever. So she had that $133 to go. And I just called and I said, did you know you were that close? Because what happens is when she made that $5.88 over time, she just, you know, it's something that she's accustomed to. Never in her wildest dream does she ever think she was that close. She is going to be able to go to her region conference because 1, she's retired now, and 2, COVID is allowing her to make that journey. And so she says, yeah, I want to, you know, make this next pledge. So she made the pledge and she's going to be at that next level. And it's not about the recognition. It's a matter of she's worked so hard to get where she's at. And she never in her wildest dreams thought that her little $5.88 would ever make it to that impact. And I just think that is just so phenomenal that I thought I'd share. So one more. And this is what I shared with her. And I don't know how you know how to go and track your contributions, but this is just a couple of steps. You can go to your seroptimist.org and you're going to click on the little blue box up there on the top that's on the screen that says member login. There's all kinds of little buttons, but look at the member login one. You're going to enter your username and your password. Once you're there, you can click on that make donation. Although you're not going to make a donation, it is going to take you right to that donation area. Once you see that, scroll down and you're going to see your giving history and you're going to know exactly how much or how far you're at your next level. So it's pretty easy. It keeps you on track. You can see if people have made, not necessarily the person, but if there's been a contribution made to you because of, you know, a birthday or, you know, anything that's been given to you recently too as well. I see some chat questions. I don't know if this would be, I think, a perfect slide and gateway, which is to our questions. Oh, this is for Governor-elect Judy. Are we going to have a Laurel Society gathering at the conference?
No.
No. Okay.
We have discussed it and we've discussed the best way to do some sort of recognition, and it's still a discussion in progress.
Okay.
They are going to be recognized.
There will be a recognition. Not quite sure what it's going to look like yet.
All right. And that's one of the things that we discuss at headquarters a lot is recognition is important. And again, we don't do it for the recognition, but it's the acknowledgement, because we can never say thank you enough. And again, it's just something that comes, of that collective impact. So does anybody have any questions for me?
I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Out of pure curiosity, if you know, and if you don't know, it's totally fine. Do you know how much is raised annually through Founders Pennies? I'm just curious, 'cause it seems like such a small number, but I'm sure it adds up.
It does. And the last report, because I just did a call Tuesday, I believe the last report, because remember, it usually, and this was two things, is that we look at reports annually, but then we look at them on the club year too, because they come in July.
Sure.
I think the report was like 27,000, but I'll look at my report again. And because I didn't print it, but I'll look at the report and see what it is collectively, what has been given. And again, what you have to measure that with is it's not a requirement, and not all clubs give, right? And I know when, I was region, governor-elect or governor, we had some, clubs that didn't participate, and their district director or other members on the club, paid that, for them, because it is, if you've got 9 members at $6, it's not a big ask. But again, I can't measure the need from me to somebody else is, ask. So, but I will get that and I will let you know.
Okay.
And then
My
any other questions?
other question is, do you know what our progress to date is on the Dream Big campaign?
We're halfway there.
Halfway? Okay.
We wanted 15 million. We're halfway there. We'll come to a soft close, which means after August, we still tally up what people want to give. The corporate donations didn't come in as we'd hoped that they would. There's different challenges going on. So we haven't closed those out. Some of them are getting a little bit more progressive. I want to say that all of our Japanese clubs, they're spanking it. They're bringing in millions to our, 500,000. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, 7.5 million is not the goal, but it's certainly nothing to sneeze at, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Pretty fantastic.
So, they evaluate that, was it a big ask? And they don't want to come away thinking that they have lost anything. But how do we do it differently? And again, it's always the communication as to why the ask. We had San Buchanan down in our club. And one of the things that, made me very proud is the fact that our club was within the top, there's 1% of a club that gives to the club giving. Now, if that doesn't resonate with the members of my club, I don't know what gets them there, okay? To be the top 1%. So we work hard at what we do, but I can say honestly, we wouldn't be there if it hadn't been for a brand new member who said, why not? And we all just kind of, did this look. She had no attachment to a program. She had no buy-in to, this is what I need to do this or to do that. It was just, why wouldn't you support, what we believe in as our mission? Because it comes back. but it was her innocence that was just, why not? Because we were giving about 2,500, back then,
Right.
but yeah, it was, I can still remember the, the stillness in the room,
There's no answer to why not.
yeah, why not? But yeah, any other questions? Ask now, forever hold your peace.
Tana, when you're finished, I have a dream it be it question, but I don't want to take this time. So.
That was the last call I was on. We got into Ireland. So no, I understand it. I think we're still good on time too. So yeah, we haven't quite reached. And I know I had a lot to cover. I got a lot of input from headquarters because again, this is an important part of our existence. And I can't express enough on the impact of our future on this last campaign. All of our other campaigns that go directly to programs. Now that you have that opportunity, you can say, live your dream. You can say, dream it, be it. And now you add it to whether or not to go to the big goal, or you can add. I know there's a lot of people that just add another monthly gift. I have one that comes out of my personal household. I have one that comes out of my business, account. So, if there's something that you feel that, I want to add, something else, then you can add as many as you'd like. They don't have a stale date where they're going to end. You tell us when it is that you want to stop.
I just have a couple comments, not so much questions. One is you alluded to this, and I was going to mention it before you did, but the concept of the pledge, right? You can pledge to give money over time, and that counts towards your Laurel Society when you make the pledge. And I guarantee you SIA will come ask for you to pay up when the time comes, because I've done that. I did that for Dream Big specifically, which is kind of nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of get the immediate gratification and recognition, and you could pay over time.
Yeah.
It is a binding pledge, but it's another way, especially, per the example you gave, if you're super close to that next level, it's a good way to get there quicker, knowing that, you still have to pay up at some point. Just a comment. And then my other comment is I really thank you for going and covering in some depth how the money gets used. I think, the fundraising presentations that we give at conference and district meetings do a good job of covering the ways to give. But to add that element of how it gets used is super helpful. To, understanding, yes, they give money back to regions for Live Your Dream and the Federation Live Your Dream and Dream It Be It support. But, there are operations, there is technology, there are all those other things that still have to be paid for. And so thank you for covering that in depth. Sometimes we just get a quick overview, but an understanding of the structure of SIA as an organization in of itself is very helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And proudly, I think it's an organization that all these contributions aren't paying somebody's salary. And that's very unique in the nonprofit world. Mm-hmm. And we pride ourselves on that. And I think it's the same that holds true as our clubs are too as well. We don't pay a president to take that role. It's all volunteer, so that's one thing to also make sure that members understand and realize that all of our contributions, they are a donation that's going to support our programs. This one's unique. I know Peggy had a question there, is how do you get somebody to, convince your club to go towards, the big dream? And it's the investment, as I said, just like a lot of your women are business women, they employ employees. You don't want to be able to have to put in time without having a return. The same philosophy. If we can invest in our programs, we're investing in our clubs. I remember when I was membership chair, that was one thing that for every 15 members that you had in a club, you're helping somebody in your community that's going to impact their life. So, you know, you have to measure it in to where if I can exist and we can sustain our future, look how much more we're going to generate the empowerment and the betterment of our community. I mean, how many of our communities are so impacted right now with homelessness?
Mhm.
How do we beat before they become homeless? One of our live your dream, I mean, our Dream It Be It students that participated in class on Saturday, she's one of our award recipients because we're now at the level that we can give our members, you know, that participate a club grant. We can't find her because she's homeless.
Mm.
A high school student is homeless. You know, how do we reach her? How do we make that impact? Again, because my club is large enough, we have a successful fundraiser, we can do things like that. But again, if you can't, headquarters is helping us invest in this club's community and investing in it to make sure that they're going to be able to stay around the next 10, 15, 20 years. So any other questions regarding, there's another one on the chat or no? Okay. But no, I thank you ladies for your time. The last slide, it has my email. It also has headquarters email. These ladies that I work with, they're phenomenal. If you're on the fence about whether or not you're going to be attending conference, the conference call that I saw come out and having the CEO come, she's awesome. If you ever have any questions for me, yeah, let me know. My territory, oddly enough, you have Lynn Lubre, who is in Hawaii. And I just shared with her yesterday that if she could make her founder region, you know, I'll gladly go to her founder region call. So although I'm the chair, I kind of, you know, spread myself across and I try to help anybody that I can. You want me to come to a club meeting? I'd be willing to come to a club meeting. You know, we can tweak this presentation in any manner that you want. I don't have a fear to ask. I'm in sales, so I know I have to go through so many asks to get that one sale, and I'm not in the position to sell you. I just want to make sure that you are given the knowledge to make the choice. Okay.
Well, this is a great presentation to give the knowledge without being pushy. So
thank you. And again, I have to give credit to, you know, the people that I work with who helped and assisted me in the presentation too as well. We put our heads together. I know when Sam came to our club, we put our heads together and said, okay, how do we make the ask? How do we make the connection for our club members? Because every club is so unique. So we try to drill it down to make sure that, you know, we can hit the right audience. So, okay.
Thank you, Tana.
Thank you.
Thank you. So can I ask you a Dream It Be It question now?
Sure, I'll see if I can answer that.
I'm going to leave the recording on just in case anyone's interested.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Thank you all.
Well, I can turn it off too.
Oh, it does. I don't care.
Now I see people, so now I have to leave it on.
Okay. So, Tana, I know your club had like 80 plus girls this past weekend. And so in my presentation in a couple of weeks, I'm talking about how, you know, they can connect with people in the community and all. So tell me, you do it on a weekend. And so tell me who you're connected with, how you reach out to get that many girls.
Oh, we've been at it for 6 years. We had 142 registered, 89 showed.
Okay.
We found a wonderful principle when we kind of drafted, you know, maybe it wasn't the one-day conference and maybe it was a little bit more hands-on, you know, one-on-one with the girls. We started with one of the continuation schools.
Okay.
That principle ended up coming to the larger high school, which is at the West Campus. So from the West Campus, we said, okay, Katie, you're here, you know, so now we had that entry into the door. We
Right.
made contact with Lavina, who works at the Office of Education, Kings County Office of Education, who works with the foster youth programs. So she, you know, spread it out to the county agency through, I think it's called, Peggy, if you're still on, is that YLP? She's still on?
Oh, I think she's gone.
Okay.
She's gone.
Yeah, so there's different tangents within the Office of Education that works with different departments. So
Right.
the foster youth,
That's how we're doing it too.
Okay.
So that's, I'm
so
aware
that
of
was
all
the
that.
other one, but we went through the Learn for Life, which is the charter clubs, the charter schools. So
Oh, okay.
we asked each of because we have 3 high schools. So we asked the 3 high schools, can we come and give a presentation? So one of our presentations that we gave was to all of the English classes. One of the high schools had a career day or a career counselor. So we met with her and we said, this is our program. So it's just a matter of, you know, knowing your resources and beating that path as to making those connections, because we've been churning and churning and churning.
Yeah.
And like you say, you know, what works. So
can I ask you, because we target transitions here in Clovis, and it's the foster, homeless, and at-risk students. But we were not successful on a weekend because a lot of them were in group homes, a lot of, you know, they didn't have transportation and all. So I do see you had 142 and only 89, but how did they provide busing for them, or
no,
how did you get,
and when
we just have a small community. And
yeah. And so that was one of the things when we started at the continuation school, if there was transportation issues, that principal was willing to, you know, go the distance. So it's just finding that one unique educator that's in that role of leadership to, you know, help you. So when she transferred over to West Campus, she hooked us up with the Partnership Academy, and the Partnership Academy at the high school are the ones that are just on that cusp of going to the continuation school. So they're trying to catch them before they transition, you know, over to, you know, another level of education. And then this year they have a new academy, which is the Medical Academy. And a lot of those students are the ones that are going through the CNA program. So by the time they graduate, they have their CNA license.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's just kind of finding those niches to say, okay, you know, what kind of makes sense. And we had a couple that repeated from last year to this year because they really liked it. We attacked the social media. We asked the high schools because they have like a constant contact with the list.
Right. Most high schools do, yeah.
So we have to go through the Office of Ed or the district, you know, to get permission to send these flyers. So we send out the flyers that, you know, we're going to have raffles, we have grants, you know, in excess of $2,000. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, how do you hook them to bring them in?
Right. So did you have somebody, a principal or somebody that provided any transportation on the weekend?
No,
to get students there? Okay, no. So that's the thing that I just, because a lot of times when I'm on a call for the region or for the federation, that's the big thing that's difficult. But I think your community is so tight and small that maybe it's easier.
Well, we reached Lemoore, which is probably about 14 miles out. We had about 8 students from Lemoore. We have some that were in the charter program, which is Learn for Life. You know, so they can be in the county if they're going through Learn for Life. It just depends on, you know, where they're domiciled in. So we have a radius of probably, you know, 10 miles when you're looking at the farthest point, which is Sierra Pacific High School, which is almost in Armona to Hanford, you know, some of those students. But
so you open it to anybody, any girls? Not just the girls 17. That are at risk.
Right. And that was one of the things that we asked the principal, that if she opened up her campus, that she was willing to accept all the students that may not be a Hanford High
Mhm.
student. I mean, underneath the district,
Right.
there was Lemoore, there was the Learn for Life Academy,
Mhm.
um,
Okay.
the
It
question I
sounds like
saw.
yours is very similar to ours.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find out if there's like a really unique, different way. I think the schools are definitely the best connection
Oh yeah,
that
they are.
the clubs can get, but
Right.
there, some people just don't have that hook into,
Right.
a district. So
Yeah.
anyway, okay. Well, thank you. That
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, you just have to continually, churn and work and, once you find that person. So when I didn't get a response from Hanford High or because I was on the team for registration, when I didn't get a response from Hanford High or Sierra Pacific, then I had to go to Katie, the principal of Hanford West, and say, okay, I'm not hearing from your counterparts. Can you message them? Can you speak on our behalf? And she did. And I got a buy-in from Hanford High, and I never got a response from, Sierra Pacific. But we had students because see, we still have S Club.
Yeah, we and our S clubs last year it was great because our Dream It Be It was during it's the Catholic high school,
Yeah.
and their spring break was during a different time than the Clovis Unified, so they didn't have to get out of school to come to it.
Right.
The girls that were going to come this year, they were all registered and stuff. Their parents pulled them at the last minute, said, "You've missed too much school. You can't come," because they had to be released from school. So
yeah, San Joaquin Memorial's S Club is a given. That's my kids went to that high school.
Yeah. So last year I had 6 girls from San Joaquin Memorial that came from S Club. So that was great. But this year they didn't come. So anyway.
Charlotte, your
Alrighty,
question
well,
on our
thank you.
budget. Last year, we received a grant from the community of $10,000 from Leprino Foods. We split that over last year and this year, so we still had a little bit of money left over because, again, we gave grants, and that was one of the conditions that we gave them, and we invited them, and they were our table hosts, so they bought in again, this year, and they supported us. But what the leftover proceeds that we had, we utilized that because we gave about $1,500 away in merchandise, from Taco Bell gift cards to earbuds that were donated and stuff like that. Again, draw them to come, tell them what they're going to get. And then physically what we set aside was $3,000 for our food, when we have to buy the stuff, the supplies for the dream boards, and all the things, your table, decorations and all of that, the food that we buy for breakfast and for lunch. So we came under budget with it, but it was still, we said we knew from last year we would get, absenteeism. So out of the 140, we projected that we'd have at least 189. That's not bad. So we kept that tight.
I have a quick question. I don't know that Oakdale, I'm in the Oakdale Club, and I don't know, Linda, if maybe you know this. This is the first time I've heard of clubs giving them stuff to entice them to come in. I think that's genius.
Oh no!
Do a lot of them do that?
And Oakdale
maybe
did.
We do that.
What did Oakdale do? I don't recall us doing that.
Well, they had, aren't they the ones that did it from the trunk of the car and they had boxes? I think that was Oakdale.
Well, we did that in COVID. But I'll have to double check. I don't recall that we're buying things I don't think we're really making that an emphasis, which I think is really smart to get them in.
Yeah, we do a lot. Our members are great in the Clovis Club of donating gift cards, like makeup, Sephora, that kind of thing, and coffee ones are a big deal. And then we really lucked out this year. There's something that's Clovis Unified does 3 times a year where they bring together for all of the alternative ed, all of the outside agencies that can provide services. And so we're part of that. We get to go to that. And the Assistance League, the Fresno Assistance League was there, happened to be somebody I knew that's the president, and they do shopping sprees. And I said, well, would you guys like to come? And they said, sure, because we usually have not not as a career center, but just as booths that the girls can go to in addition to the career centers. We usually have something for substance abuse and, just resources for them. And so when they arrive, I talked to her and she said, we'll do one of the grand prize, because we always do a grand prize drawing, and we've usually done a tablet at the end.
Nice.
And so she said, we'll do a shopping spree. So I was thinking $100 or $150 shopping spree. They ended up giving us 4 grand prize shopping sprees for $250 a piece.
Wow.
So they took the girl. I went with one of the girls, met them out. They do it. They have some sort of a deal with Burlington, and they don't have to pay tax because it's nonprofit. So this little gal got $250 worth of shoes and purses and clothes. And we just said, if you're in school, it needs to be in dress code, or if you're applying for a job, but we don't let them buy bikinis, but anyway, she was just absolutely delighted. So getting those kind of connections with other nonprofits that are doing things, and they ask, can we please come back next year? I'm like, yeah.
That's so great.
Become table monitors and they can see. I mean, some of these girls, when we did their evaluations, what did they hit on? Thank you for talking to us about mental health. Thank you for sharing your stories and making
Very cool.
That, I don't have to have the 4.40 GPA to become, a medical assistant. I can, go to community college. I can, just the things that they share is just, phenomenal.
It is. And we have Clovis Adult they have a whole nursing program. So it sounds similar, but yours is at the high school. But they came in, they had forms all ready for the girls to fill out. So 10 of the girls are going to go on tours now after spring break of that program. They were really interested in that. So over time, it's just grown. And now the last 2 years, Clovis Unified has actually put us in their budget. So,
good. Yeah.
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 So they put out about $2,000 for us because they buy everybody t-shirts, and they provide all box lunches for all the girls.
Wow.
And we had 60 girls last year and between 50 and 60 this year. So yeah, and we get, of course, we don't have to pay for the venue, because we're doing it on a school day. And the last 2 years we've done it in a gym at, one of the schools. So
that's really great. Well, it's neat to hear. I'm not as involved in Dream It Be It the past couple of years, so I'm a little behind, but maybe, but I was asking that question more for all the clubs, not just my own club, but, because I think we can really probably improve. I know Linda has a better pulse on that because, you talk to all the clubs about all that, but I think that I'm sure I don't know. I think that's so important. It's got to be this huge element of fun. You got to entice them. I love the t-shirts. Partnering with these other agencies, that's fantastic. So great job.
Yeah,
I
taught for years, so I tried really hard to make it not feel like school when we're there. And I won't, even though we have all the transition counselors come, and depending on where we are located, the girls that are in they've been expelled, basically, they can't come on to another campus. But if we're at a general district site, then they can come. But they have counselors on them every moment, but I will not let any of the counselors be a table facilitator. I want it to be non-school, related.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I'll be sure in my leadership thing that we talk about, I think the grants, we're giving at least $1,000 worth, and we're just going to see. It depends on, we only give it to seniors, and they have to show that, they're enrolled in something for the year following. But advertising that there are grants, that was a big pull. We had a couple of teen moms that attended, and that was huge for them, that they wanted to,
And are you giving a cash grant?
Mm-hmm.
That's so nice. That's so nice.
Yeah. So we've given, it's varied, either $250 or $500, depending on how many and what our budget was like, how much money we had. But that pays for their books or their parking for the year, or,
Yeah.
It's enough to make a difference. So
And Tana, the only comment feedback I wanted to give, because I didn't get to hear your presentation, except
Oh,
I
sorry.
came in when you were talking about the dream big, and that you could those monies can go towards your Laurel Society, which I thought was great. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
And then of course when Judy, you asked where are we at on that goal, I thought you meant our new goal, the big goal, but you meant
No,
you
it is
said
the big
dream
goal.
big.
No,
Gotcha.
the big goal. The big
Oh.
goal, we were trying to sustain 15 million,
And we're halfway there.
halfway there, but it's ending
that's-
August 31st. So
Oh,
I'm up
see,
short.
okay. I thought we had like 10-year. I'm just confused.
No.
It's
that's
okay.
the other goal.
The time frame of which we wanted those funds to last us was to go through the 2020, the 30.
oh, I didn't understand that either. Okay.
Yeah. So we're trying to get this money so that way over 10 years, this is what we're going to try to develop and impact. Because again, when we look at our database, it is so antiquated, and it costs money to update software and programs, and to be able to adapt and to collate all of that information that's so important that we need. So again, it could be something as structural as what we need at headquarters. Again, for the sustainability of our programs, for the sustainability of being able to go out to corporations and to seek corporate donations. Yeah, so, my world has always been, it takes money to make money.
Yep.
This is a business too. We're in the business
Absolutely.
of saving lives for women and girls and developing those lives of women and girls.
Yeah.
And we, to me, in my opinion, we do need to reinvest back. My good friend Barbara G, I remember her saying at one time or another, she's got a few select charities of choice. And that's what she, develops and where she puts her, her time and her energy at. And that's just like, when I came back as governor-elect at my first roundtable, they did that, dots on, what are you supporting in your clubs and how much money is that equaling? Why are we working for other organizations when we should be working for ourselves first? And that was a challenge. That was a big challenge. And I'm glad to see that my predecessors are still, kind of, working along those same paths to say, we need to keep it in our local communities and we need to do the work for ourselves. And yeah, if you can give some up to the top, because again, it's reinvesting, it makes sense. It makes sense. But it's conversations like this, it's education like this, it's the questions like this that kind of help dilute, some of those misnomers that, we kind of think.
Yeah.
But
And then
Thank you, Tana.
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you, Linda.
And I'm sure I missed it, but you may have addressed this, and I know we're out of time, but I was just going to say, did you say that there is a way to track how close someone is to their next level or to getting to Laurel Society?
Yes, you're going to go to your Seroptimist, www.seroptimist.org, right? When it says member login, you're going to go
Right.
to your login. Once you're there in your member login, you're going to hit the donate now button. It's not going to, it's going to take you to your landing page of your Laurel Society. There
Okay.
you're going to see exactly where you're at. And you're going to see all the monthly contributions. You're going to see in there, if you have a pledge, you're going to see, how much your pledge is pledged. You're going to see whether or not you have donations given to you by an outsource because somebody gave you a gift, so
Okay.
you see all of them that come in. Yeah.
And do you have, is there any kind of system in place, or do you have a recommendation for having somebody monitor that and reach out? Like I heard you say you reached out to somebody to tell her how close she was, but
Yeah.
obviously there's not people hired. It would take a long time to do that, but I wonder within the clubs, if somebody within the club should do that. I'm trying to get a lot of our own
Like we
members.
have the ability to see where everyone else stands. Like I can see my own, but
No,
Right.
you can't see, but Charlie, who is the fundraising chair, She
Mhm.
can ask headquarters for a report.
Report.
And
Okay.
I've seen,
Oh.
we've got one person that is close to get one in Sierra Pacific region. Lynn Lubre, my counterpart, who has Sierra Pacific region as that chairperson for the council, should have either called her or emailed her because she's that close.
Okay. Okay.
Determine that close is probably within 100. You know, some other people might say 500 is pretty close. You know, I mean, I looked at mine last month after, you know, I made my last contributions because I added another one because I wanted to go to, you know, dream big. I'm like about $1,200 to, you know, be coming into the inner circle. So, you know, it's kind of like, do I want to, you know, make that last bit so I can make inner circle? You know, I might do that at the end of my term as the fundraising chair, you know, so we'll see. But yeah, I know that in the back of my head. And I say, okay, you know, but at this amount contribution, where am I going to be there? You know, don't tell my husband I shouldn't be talking so loud that he knows that he just sees it just comes out. See, you know, what's that going, you know, but it's just like, you know, if you tithe, if you give to your church, if you give to, you know, blood, you know, it's causes you believe in, you know, I get a call every month. It's time to give blood, you know, it's what I believe in.
Yep.
You know, so anyhow, but yeah, you can go and check that out and see exactly where you're at. And yes, Charlie can ask headquarters for that. You can go online and see that. You as a district director, as you know, for your area, you can ask headquarters, you know, if you're going to be making a trip to a club and you kind of want to see, they'll give it to you because you're district director. Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
Okay.
You know, that way
Awesome.
you can, you know, be that, you know, sponsor of saying, hey,
That's a good idea.
Well, that's a good way to give some shout outs when you go visit the club. You know,
Yeah.
I do always ask for the members to stand who are Laurel Society or Stargazers, you know.
yeah.
But that'd be cool to have a little report.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Headquarters will definitely run those reports for you. You know, they just like, again, you get the reports as whether or not, you know, they're that's the next calls that are going out, ladies, is our club giving, because I only saw one of our clubs in the region that's given their club giving.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I think we always do it. We didn't.
I don't know. That was on my
Do it at the end of the year.
Some of them give it, they know they have to do it before May if they want conference recognition, right?
Oh, okay.
So,
That's
because I know
good.
my club hasn't given it yet because we haven't written out all of our checks, you know, so.
Oh, maybe
yeah.
that's why. Yeah, because I know we intend to.
Yeah, you
but-
budget it, but
Yeah.
whether or not that check's been mailed yet, you know, you might want to check. But I
Good
know
reminder.
I got the regions that I have to look at and call and my club presidents. But I saw that in our region, because I get all of the regions, we had one club that showed.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
Charlotte.
I
we'll
bet
work
we
on
haven't.
that.
So
All
there's,
right.
there's some work that, you know, Charlie's going to have to do, or district directors, however you guys, you know, fan that out to, you know.
We will
Yeah.
work on that. Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good reminder about getting
Great.
recognition at conference too.
Yeah.
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 Thanks. Thank
Yeah.
you all.
All
It was so
right.
nice to see you
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah, those calls will
Very-
still here
yeah.
because they wanted us to make sure, because spring conferences start as early, you know, as March, April for
Yeah.
a variety of regions
Yeah.
where they're at. So that asked us to make sure that we're looking at the Laurel Societies first. And now our next set of calls next month are going to be towards
Club giving.
club giving.
All right.
All right. Well, it's been great,
Good
ladies.
night.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
It's
you.
so good to see all your faces, and we'll see you again in June.
You too.
All right.
Bye, you guys.
See you again.
Bye-bye.